last ones, so we better be entertaining.
Counting on you for that.
All right, we'll start with having any questions. You said in February that AGI is about 50 years away.
Honestly.
You still believe that, given how fast things are moving?
I think depending on how you define AGI, we might have gotten to AGI either 30 years ago, or I think quite possibly not yet for many decades. The definition I know is AI that can do any intellectual task a human can, and that means AI that could take 5 years and write a novel PhD thesis, or maybe faster, or AI that any of us with a few hours of practice could learn to drive a truck through a forest, so AGI seems to be like would have to do that too. But because of incentives between Microsoft and an OpenAI contract, which has changed, so this has gone away, there was a specific financial incentive to lower the bar for AGI to make it easier to get there. And there was this definition of AI that could do 50% of all economically useful work. But if only we had put in place that definition 100 years ago, then as most of the world transitioned from agriculture to non-agricultural work, then I would declare we got to AGI like 30 years ago, 50 years ago or something. So depending on how you define it, I think the original definition is still many decades away, but I think because the agreement between Microsoft and OpenAI, I think that there's now less hype about AGI, which I think is a good thing.
All right, another hard-hitting question. A lot of controversy about open models. A lot of talk in Silicon Valley, a lot of talk in Washington, a lot of people posting about open models. In fact, Jensen's first tweet, he's never sent out an X post ever before. His first X post was about open models and defending it. What do you think of open models? Why do you think we need it? What's the concerns around security? Are those things valid?
Over the last 3 years, 2-3 years ago, I was surprised at the intensity of the attack on open weight models. And I think many of you already seen, right? If someone spent billions of dollars training a model, it's kind of inconvenient if someone else releases an open weight version that degrades the value of that investment. So kind of 2-3 years ago, I was in the room when a number of executives from a number of companies, kind of the obvious ones, were saying to government regulators, frankly, misleading, hyperbolic things about AI safety in order to try to drive revenue capture. I think I'm actually very glad that a little bit later, because of the work that a lot of the open source community did, flying to DC, speaking with Congress, speaking with the White House, that at this moment in time, there is broad awareness in Washington, DC about the regulatory capture rules. And I think, but at the same time, I was actually really happy that Jensen put out that statement. Really well written, worth